Good evening and welcome to this edition of Blink with Andrew Mwenda, the show that is going to be aired once every single month to discuss the major events taking place in this country, the region, and the world. And with me in the studio this evening to discuss the Rwenzururu movement is Dr. Moses Kisa. He is a lecturer at Northwestern University in Chicago in the United States. Good political scientist, sometimes though politically partisan. Next to him is my old friend Shaban Bantariza. You are now a Lieutenant Kano or a Kano?
Kano, please.
Kano.
Retired.
Kano, not yet retired. Shaban Bantariza.
Redeployed.
Redeployed.
Yes.
Who is the Deputy Director of the Uganda Media Center. So he's here to defend the government. And also next to me is Robert Centenary, who is a Member of Parliament for Kasese Municipality. And he supports the Rwenzururu movement. I want to begin with giving a detailed account of what has been happening in Kasese based on a confidential security report that an old man of my age, can get. On the 2nd of July 2013, the Omusinga of Rwenzururu, Wesley Mumbere, addressed the crowd at his palace and uttered the following statements. One, that he called the meeting to launch a protracted struggle by Banyarwenzururu against marginalization by minority ethnic groups in Rwenzori region supported by the government. Two, that no Mukonjo should accept any form of intimidation from both government security services and Nanabakonjo in the region. He said that if any Nanamukonjo confronts you, attack them using the nearest weapon your hand can reach, or slap him if you cannot get any object to use. Three, that next time the kingdom organizes a function and security intervenes, he will never call Bakonjo to his palace again. He urged his subjects to attack Nanabakonjo next to them in various localities and further told them to prepare for genocide and mob justice. Four, that he is not against the coronation of the Bamba king, but Bundubujo district should be split into two according to Bamba Bakonjo settlements. That he will not accept any creation of kings for Basongora and Banyabindi in Kasese district. That the Bakonjo should prepare to either kill or be killed if NRM government attempts to implement its project of creating a Bahima kingdom in Kasese district. 5, that intelligence in the district keep informing the president that Bakonjo are struggling to secede from Uganda and create their own state called the Yira Federal State. That this is not new because even when President Museveni was recognizing the Rwenzururu king, he knew that the ultimate goal since 1962 has been and still is a state for the Bakonjo. And because of NRM government's negative attitude towards Obusinga bwa Rwenzururu, the Bakonjo must take their agitation for own state open and clear. 6, that Banyarwenzururu must not allow any cultural function by minority ethnic groups take place in Mohocha sub-county. 7, that no Mukonjo should marry again from other ethnic minorities to avoid infiltration, leakage of their activities, and dilution of the Bakonjo heritage. And 8, finally, that he is not a politician but urged the Bakonjo to be in the party that champions the interests of their kingdom. We can suspect which party this is. Seems like the party. So let me ask you. The Bakonjo in 1962 rebelled against the kingdom where Deputy King Toro, saying that they're being marginalized by Batoro, and they asked for an independent district so they can manage their own affairs. In 1973, Idi Amin granted this wish of the Bakonjo and gave you an independent district. After that, now the Bakonjo started demanding that they wanted to have a king or cultural institution. After protracted struggles and negotiations, which we in Toro vehemently opposed and still oppose, President Museveni, opportunistically, I must add, in order to win cheap popularity in Kasese, he decided to grant you Obusinga. Now you got the district, you got your Obusinga. What else do you want? Well, of course, the king has stated that you want to secede from Uganda.
Okay.
You think Uganda should accept that secession? Okay, first tell us, what exactly do you want?
First of all, I want to make clear one statement that President Museveni opportunistically granted. No, he did not grant. He recognized. Because the Obusinga bwa Rwenzururu existed even before President Museveni became president of Uganda. That one is one thing I want to make clear. That even when the king was in exile in the US, the Banyarwenzururu continued to pursue the Rwenzururu movement, the kingdom, and to
so the kingdom
it.
Existed in the minds of the Bakonjo?
Yes, and in the blood, actually. Not only in the minds, but also in the blood of the Bakonjo. So
but Bakonjo have never had a king.
The only way...
Robert, the Bakonjo have never had a king. How can it be in your blood when the first time somebody, Mukirane, attempted to declare himself a king was 1963? That cannot be in the blood, surely.
Everything has a starting point. I believe even Toro Kingdom had a point when it started. Buganda Kingdom had a point when it started, so everything has a starting point.
So it's not yet in your blood, it is still in your hearts and minds.
No, it is entrenched, because the only way you can wipe out the Rwenzururu Kingdom is if you kill all the Bakonzo, then you know you have finished the entire kingdom. But as long as the Bakonzo still live, even in the future generations, even the children who have not yet given birth to, Rwenzururu Kingdom
so
will remain
you have not
there.
answered what exactly do you guys want?
What do we want?
You have your king,
What we
you
want
have your district.
is that government recognized our institution. They should give us a platform to enjoy our institution in peace. That is all.
What is that platform? The independent state of Yira.
No, the Rwenzururu Kingdom.
But you already have it.
You see, when government...
What is this struggle between you and the government now?
When government recognized the Rwenzururu Kingdom, we said thank you. And this was not, I think at that time government was an unwilling combatant. But this political environment pushed government into recognition. You remember some people even created academies that were fighting the recognition of the Rwenzururu movement. And it is not something that came the easy way. There was an allegation that King Charles Mumbere was the commander of ADF, which created a crisis in Kasese that was actually, they sent, at that time, the late Wapakabulo, in 1998, came to Kasese to try and calm down the situation, which resulted in 2 negotiations with Charles to return to the country. And in 2009, thereafter, the recognition took place in 2009.
Robert, you have still dodged the question. I'll ask it the 4th time.
Ask.
You wanted a district, you got it. You wanted Obsinga, you have it. What else do you want? What are you fighting for now?
I have said...
You are fighting for a kingdom that is already...
We have a kingdom, but government has not allowed us to enjoy our kingdom in peace. Why?
How do you want to enjoy it? Can you
How
tell
do
us?
you want to
Hold a
enjoy
second.
it?
Explain to us, like 6-year-olds, what exactly do you want the government to do or not to do for you to be able to enjoy your kingdom in full?
I want to give you the scenario. When King Charles Mumbere returned, if you're to recall, you were in the media. At that time, he was referred to as the Bakonzo Vamba King, if you're to recall. And this unity that we were enjoying with our brothers, the Vamba, I think was the major threat to government. I think it did not augur well with government. I remember we used to have teams from Bundubujo come to Kasese, and the king would also have a free movement to Kasese, to Bundubujo. But at some point, the king was not even allowed to step in Kasenyi. You remember the Kasenyi clashes? At another point, he was not allowed to step in Bundubujo. And then before we know it, other chiefdoms started emanating. Kamya, at that time he was captain or the Mdinja wa Gwamba, was retired from the army to come and take charge of the Mdinja wa Gwamba.
The final question, because I want to bring in the others. You Bakonjo were subjects of the king of Toro. You felt that culturally you needed to be independent and the government has allowed you against protests from Toro. Why do you Bakonjo think that the Bamba, if they want to have their own cultural institution, and the Basongora and the Banyabindi, for them they should not follow your example, which you yourself set?
Okay.
Why do you think that what is good for the goose should not be good for the gander?
The others cannot enjoy their cultural, their cultural rights. No one has denied other ethnicities to enjoy their cultural rights.
This is the security report.
Yes.
Listen, but he said he will not accept any creation of kings for the Basongora or Banyabindi in Kasese district.
Who creates?
The Basongora or community from which I belong. We want a king, and I'm going to resign from being deputy king of Toro. I become king of the Basongora.
But Webale was the king of the Basongora.
I am going to depose him.
They have been holding cultural
so you are,
rituals
so,
and what?
So do you recognize the Basongora king?
Attacked them. And it's not up to us to recognize the kings. That is government
Okay, but
business.
you have just stated
Now,
that the creation of the king of the Bamba was against your interest. You don't want...
No. I said we had the unity. We were enjoying the unity.
Just
the
like
Bamba.
we the Batora were enjoying the
Okay?
unity with you, Bamba and
But
Bakonjo.
the invisible hand came and split that unit and said, by the way, why are you together with these guys? You can also have your very own, okay? And then there were some curtails now. Don't go here because we have already put somebody there. This is not your territory.
Okay, let's come
and
to Moses
it
Kisa.
ignored the Bakonzo who occupy a whole county, Buendera. Now, the issue of the kingdom is a king can have access to his subjects regardless of where they are. Whether they're in London or Bundubujo or New York, he has access to them.
Okay, Robert. This is Blink with Andrew Mwenda featuring the Member of Parliament for Kasese Municipality, Robert Centenary. You can see him here. We have Kano Shaban Bantariza, an old friend of mine. He's the Deputy Director of the Media Center, and Moses Kiza, lecturer from Northwestern University in Chicago, the hometown of Obama. Now, Moses, what do you what do you learn from all this? Because I can't understand exactly what Bakonjo wants.
Let me pick up from where Robert ended, and you're trying to push him. He's been a little bit reticent in stating the point more explicitly and directly. The point he's trying to belabor is that the Bakonjo want political power, which government hasn't given them. So the issue...
Is he putting words into your mouth?
No, I'm not putting words into his mouth, but I'm trying to make sense of what he was saying. And my own interpretation of the whole crisis there is that this is a crisis of managing the state and state affairs. And how do you deal with the people who are trying to lay claims to wanting political power? You give them semi-autonomous status as a federal unit. You give them a district like it was given, right? Do they have the power that they think they should have as a district? Do you leave them to secede? As you're saying, there is a project, allegedly a project of creating a new state called what?
Yira Federal State.
Yira Federal State. So,
and Robert doesn't deny it. He agrees.
No, he hasn't said that.
It's a big joke. Yira State is a big joke.
But Andrew, the other point that Robert was belaboring is that the government has been playing divide and rule.
Yes,
okay?
exactly.
And that, historically, the struggle, the movement for liberation, if you like, or self-determination, was a movement in Rwenzori involving different ethnicities, including the Bakonjo and the Bamba. And that at one point, more recently, the government has decided to break that unity by saying whoever wants to be an independent, autonomous chiefdom away from cultural institution, whatever you're calling it, can do so. Now, what Robert is saying that the government has been pushing this deliberately as a way of, controlling this movement.
But let me ask you, Moses, you are a political scientist, sure. You understand incentives. If you say that one community demands for a king, they get him, then they get a Land Cruiser, then they get state subsidies and things like that. Yeah. And you're creating incentives for the next community also to ask for the same.
That is where the problem is.
In which case, hold a second, in which case, the very moment Museveni attempted to expand the existing traditional institutions of 1962, which were the kings of Toro, Bunyoro, Ankwale, and Buganda, plus the Chabazingo, Busoga, only 5. When he started creating new ones in form of the Obusinga, he was opening the floodgates. A movement, not an attempt from above to divide and conquer or control and rule, but a movement from below in order to access state patronage.
Sure. You see, that it's also possible that the movement can be from below. But I think the point here, for me, if I may...
But he's saying this movement is from above.
It's from above.
It's the central state trying to divide and rule.
It could be both
and
ways.
me, I'm saying it is forces from below because the Minister of State for something, the lady from Fort Portal, I traveled with her on the plane the other day. She told me on her desk she has 153 applications for people to be declared kings.
More yet to come.
Yes.
Andrew, I think
which tells me that that is not the government.
It
is the incentives of traditional institutions that are creating this pressure from below to create more and more cultural institutions.
I think it can go both ways. But here, the other point that somebody, an outsider who is observing can notice that the government has not played a neutral role in these local animosities, inter-ethnic animosities. I think that the Bakonzo feel that the government has been taking sides against them, and they have a grievance in that respect. That if there has to be a government intervention...
Shouldn't the Matoro feel the same way? That the government took sides with the Bakonjo against the...
Precisely.
This Museveni government.
Precisely.
We Batora have never accepted the fact that the Bakonjo should have a cultural institution there. They are part of the subjects of King Oyo.
Right.
These are people who
And
walked
Deputy
out
King
of the
Lee.
Rukurato before even the Museveni government came to power, okay? Before even Uganda became a republic, all right? And you know that the Toro kingdom also belonged somewhere before it became a kingdom, Bunyoro.
130 years before Uganda's independence.
It doesn't matter.
It matters a lot.
The principle is, did you belong somewhere before you became Toro kingdom?
Okay, let me tell you this. When we were going to become a king, the prince, the crown prince of Bunyoro came and became a king there. So you can accept a king from Toro to go and become the king in
But Isaiah Mukirania, they were part of the Rukurato of Toro.
Yes,
they
but he was not
walked away
from
and
the,
said,
he was
"We
not of
are-"
royal blood. He was a commoner, for
But
Christ's
how do
sake.
you get to a Rukurato when you're a commoner?
Until you're a commoner, you're a member of parliament, are you a prince?
I am a
Parliament.
very
Let me-
serious
let me-
one.
I want to just make one quick point. You see, we are here talking about this issue, but you know that something utterly disturbing happened the other weekend.
We're going to come to
We're
that.
going to come to that. We don't know the full picture of what exactly happened, but I think it was something that should never have happened in this country, in this era, in this age. Whatever contestations that there are, at the end of the day, I think that both sides need to reflect more carefully about the implications of this.
Of the actions.
Yeah.
Let me come to Kanubantarisa, because you speak on behalf of government. I want to know, why is government of Uganda trying to promote a policy of divide and rule by dividing the Bakonja and Bamba, who were kissing each other, hugging each other, all of a sudden retiring an army major from the army, rushing him to hoist him as king of the Bamba.
And they promoted him.
And then promoted him, retired him, and hoisted him as king of the Bamba, clearly knowing that these people have been together, united, in a struggle against Astebatoro. Why?
I do not want Comrade Mwenda, anybody to think that there are any ethnic communities with people who do not know what they want. If Omudingia Kanya had been brought from Bugweri, had been a Musamia, or actually Munyankuru from Bushenyi, Mitomo where I come from, and the government says now, Kano Shaban, go and become the king of the Bamba would certainly have revolted. They would not have accepted me, no doubt about that. But the fact that they themselves, without even going into what happened, how it developed, how it proceeded, the fact that the Bamba are happy with Lieutenant Kano Kamia as their Omdingia, as somebody representing their cultural rights in the wider universe of culture, means that these Bamba are first of all interested in having their culture recognized by anybody, respected by everybody, and if they put anybody as one of their own, and they say, Your Excellency, this is our own, whether that one of their own is from the army, from the police, or from anywhere else, it's their choice. They chose this Lieutenant Colonel to be their king, to represent their interests, and who would have said, no, it shall not be Kamia, it shall be anybody else. So therefore, it's not an issue that the government is trying to opportunistically, as the Sabah have said, create. Government has not created anything. Government created only an enabling environment through law that anybody, not anybody, any people who think that their culture is being subverted or some people are having cultural chauvinism over them, because you know that tendency is there. That we are
but I want to know, what criteria does government use to recognize a given cultural institution?
I wanted to come to that because
Can I also right now say that we have a community of my clan, the Great Bakurungu clan in Toro, and we want to have a cultural leader who is a king, and then I will also be hoisted?
Of course.
And why did the government intervene and stop the coronation of the king of Ankole?
Yes.
Now, the Constitution says, if the people so wish. Now, first of all, even without the legal provision of the Constitution, you know that there is no such a situation anywhere in the world where all the people, okay, will so wish, even among Baganda here or among the Bakonjo there, people who don't care about the kingdom.
Shaban, I want to ask you something curious. Two of the quote-unquote kings in contested parts of this country have been former UPDF officers. Baker Jimeza in Kayunga,
Yes.
and then Kamia in individuals. Is this just a pure coincidence, or how come the two soldiers have ended up being kings in very highly contested and contentious places?
People are people first before they become soldiers, before they become doctors, before they become professors like you. You are a human being first from a certain culture, a certain people. Even if you had remained illiterate, they could
Yeah,
have.
but Shaban,
No, I am answering this question first.
I get your answer.
Being soldiers is secondary. In fact, for the cultural institutions or for the local people, being that soldier gives them the confidence. This is a competent leader, okay, in the world of competition, because even the cultures compete.
In most kingdoms, the king has to be a general in the army.
Absolutely.
But I want to ask you
So
this.
that one is very good for those who so chose.
Let me ask you this. During the constitution-making process in 1994-95, the Bahima in Ankole, led by Pecos Kutesa, did move a motion in the Constitutional Assembly that they should be recognized as a cultural group, and then they can have their king. But your president and his political parachute actively, you know me, I was on the side of Pecos Kutesa, that there must be a Bahima community recognized in the Constitution so they can have a king. He actively opposed it. Why? Why do you deny the independent existence of Bahima as a cultural group?
One reason,
been consistent.
no, one reason, if you go to the Angola situation, we do not present ourselves as Abahima or Abeiru, which are the two principal cultural ethnic entities in that group. We are Banyankore.
Yes.
Because if you go back to our prehistoric times, that's what we were. And we had our differences, all right? For example, if you take the kingdom of Uganda and compare to the kingdom of Vunkore. Now, in Uganda, one of the most important and useful aspects of their cohesion is because the king can come from any clan. In Nkore, where I come from, that's not possible. Okay? Now, in a situation like that one, where also you have a situation where the numbers, because the constitution says, if the people so wish, meaning that there must be a preponderance of majority wish for that cultural institution to be recognized, because then the agitations may not be a useful, it will be a hindrance to socio-economic and political advancement if you try to curtail them.
Okay, thank you so much.
In Ankole, the majority said, let's wait. We need to sort ourselves out first.
So in Ankole, you're saying the majority trumped the rights of the minority. This is
like it happened
Blink.
in democracy, actually.
This is Blink with Andrew Mwenda featuring
Democratic
Moses
theory.
Kisa, Kano Shaban Bantaris, you can hear him, and Honorable Robert Sentera will be right back after the ad break. Welcome back to this edition of Blink with Andrew Mwenda featuring Moses Kisa, who is a lecturer from Northwestern University in Chicago, the United States, who is a political scientist, and we have Kano Shaban Bantaris, the deputy director of the Uganda Media Center. He speaks here on behalf of the government. Executive director. And of course, we have Honorable Robert Centenary, who is a member of parliament for Kasese municipality, representing the Musinga on this show. let me come to you, Robert. I've been silent.
No, on this show.
On this show, he's speaking on behalf of the independent state of Rwenzururu.
The royal guard who was absent during the war.
Let me ask you, the government says, the president says he called your king because last weekend we had a nasty incident where so many people died. The president called your king and gave him an hour to surrender.
2 hours, actually.
Initially, the first time he called, he gave him 1 hour, said, please surrender, sort yourselves out, and surrender peacefully so that we don't attack the kingdom.
Surrender the home guards, not
The home guards, yes, not himself. He refused. He called him the second time, and this time said, okay, I am giving another extra 2 hours. Please let us sort this matter peacefully. Your king remained intransigent.
That's the right word.
Given that he had trained more than 4,000 militia, and the government, they had attacked, I can give you a whole list from my security report. Yes.
Yes.
Home guards.
Oh,
I
yes.
can tell you, first of all, they have been attacking Kalindi Shrine, 2 soldiers killed. 1 gun lost. 39th Battalion headquarters, 1 soldier killed, 2 soldiers injured, and 1 gun lost. I have a whole list from
In
this security
Bundubujo.
report. But across Bundubujo and Kasese.
Okay, yes.
So I have a whole list of so many attacks and stealing of guns that you have guys have conducted. There are intelligence reports I can see from this intelligence report. Your Rwenzururu movement has links with ADF in Congo, has links with the my groups in Congo. Now, the government, if your king knew that there are not so many weapons, that the security people do not know. They could not assume. They had to assume that there is a danger there. Why did he act intransigently and force the government's hand and lead to a bloodbath?
Okay, let me give you the chronology of events to what happened. After the Friday assault in Kabarole, in Margaret's constituency,
Yes. Where I'm deputy
there
king.
was a call initiated by Prince Chibanzanga to the king. And he told him that the president wanted to meet with him. And this account I'm giving you was from the spokesperson of the Rwenzururu kingdom. So they arranged that the king travels to Kampala to come and meet with President Museveni on Saturday. According to the spokesperson, as they were organizing for the king to travel to Kampala, actually for him he had gone to pick his bags so that they can go, and they were cleaning the king's vehicles, preparing them for the journey. There was an attack on the administration block of the prime minister, the Obusinga Rwenzururu administration block in Kasese town, where 8 royal guards died. They lost their lives.
Who made the attack? The Uganda police?
UPDF and the Uganda police. It was a joint operation on Saturday. That is when the king was preparing to travel to Kampala to go and meet with the president. So the king could not continue with the journey when his kingdom is under attack. Then on that very Saturday, I remember I called Christopher Kibanzanga and told him, what is going on? I asked him actually, what is going on? And what can we do? He said, the president wants the royal guards out of the palace dead or alive. I said, that cannot work. Can we intervene? Because if you say dead or alive, it means you're going to lose so many lives. What should we do? We agreed. I was in northern Uganda in Noya for a funeral of the mother to Akola Anthony. I traveled back in the night to Kampala to go to Kasese with the rest of the members of parliament and Honorable Kibanzanga, as we had agreed that we should all go home and engage meaningfully to avert the situation. I called Honorable Kibanzanga's telephone, he never picked. But the rest of the members, all of us, the 6 members of parliament, started on a journey to Kasese to avert the situation. But while we were traveling, I made a call to the spokesperson of the UPDF, Arthur. I schooled with him. I said, Obi, I understand there is heavy deployment around the palace. What is going on? I hope it is not going to be a similar operation like the one you did in Karangura. He said, well, we have some operation we are doing in the mountain, and I don't think it's going to run out of hand. I said, we are coming to Kasese. We would like to engage, try to give leadership, and try to avert the situation. Please give us time. We are coming. We called Brigadier Elweru. I actually asked him to pass on the telephone to Brigadier Elweru so that I could speak to him and reassure him that we are actually on our way coming to talk and see if we can resolve this matter without shedding blood, because already blood had been shed on Saturday.
What happened?
They agreed and said, it's okay, we shall wait for you, and we talk. We also called Ndugurugunda, Ruhakana. Said, please,
The Prime
we are
Minister.
in touch with your commanders on the ground. Add your voice and tell them that it's not necessary to have a combat operation which can be resolved peacefully. He said, okay, we will talk to them. We engaged the CDF, Katumba Wamala, the general. He said it's okay. And we continued with our journey. I remember We even received, we got a communication with the US Embassy, by the way, and told them, we think that there is going to be bloodshed in Kasese. Could you please intervene and tell government that it is not possible to resolve this matter in Kasese through a combat operation? Let them consider the talks. And they said, we will see what to do. By the time we reached Rubona, I received a call from the king, and he told me, it seems government is not patient. What should we do? I said, but we are in touch with the commanders, and we have agreed with the Prime Minister, the CDF, that they should wait for us. We get a local solution to this problem, and we avert the situation. But in the meantime, we are sending our colleague, Honorable Katsabe Godfrey Atkins, to come to the palace, and also, first of all, to meet with the commanders and come to the palace as we come. He goes there as an advance team, which he did. He talked to them. They even secured him to go and access the palace.
Instead of disarming or allowing those ones who were in the palace to move,
Scaled up his troops.
he scaled up. Not only scaled up those who were there, but scaled up recruitment and training outside. Those who were found in Kabarore, that camp,
Yes.
had 400, one camp. 400 are 4 companies. 400. Now,
They are called Kirumira Mitima.
on Saturday, when there were attacks on several sub-counties, simultaneous attacks, not one by one, simultaneous attacks by these royal guards. Because the royal guards have got
Kirumira Mitima.
yes, they have got four groups. They Siomango, I think that's how they call them, and those are called the youth of the kingdom. Then they are the royal guards, then the special royal guards, and the Kirumira Mutema. Now Kirumira Mutema are the fighters. Those are 4 groups, and he cannot deny them. So the most important thing is, when the president agreed with the Musinga that let us proceed like this, scale down, allow the UPDF officers to secure you like they are doing to every other royal institution, every other institution, cultural institution. Instead, when they went back, they recruited and trained, and evidence is there. You have read some of it.
No, what the security report says,
Yes.
that on November 21st, 2016, a combined force of EPDF, in a meeting at Moya on 11th April 2016, between the president and Omusinga, the president gave a directive to Omusinga that to disband his royal guards, which he defied. He instead went ahead to equip, train, and recruit in preparation to attack government forces.
That's not force.
That on the 13th of July 2016, at a function in Buhira sub-county organized by the Kasese District Chairman and Honorable Nzo, the Omusinga commended his royal guards for attacking the government forces. These utterances were in reference to the incident in which the militias killed 2 and injured 4 UPDF soldiers in March 2016. At the same function, the Omusinga threatened action against the Giso of Buhurira and his family for collaborating with government security agencies. This is the Giso that was later attacked and injured on the 15th of March 2016 by Omusinga militias. So, what I'm saying...
So, I do not want anybody, therefore, to think or assume here that the Omusinga could only be saved by external forces, external politicians, that he could not understand what he agreed upon and arrived at with the president in terms of security. Such that then, on Sunday or Saturday, it would have to be Honorable Centenary with another entry from Kampala going to
as if there are negotiations between 2 independent governments.
States.
But let me come to you, Moses. Moses, you're a political scientist.
Yeah.
The main characteristic of the modern state is its ability to exercise monopoly over the use of violence in a given territory. Yeah. Here I'm seeing a situation where a private individual, a cultural head, is recruiting his own militia. Over a period of time, government have had this intelligence. They will not intervene early to stop it.
In fact, we shared it. Instead, we shared it with Omusinga. This intelligence.
Really?
Yes.
So, but I cannot understand how...
You were sharing with him what he was doing.
Exactly. You see that procedure.
Showing him that we were privy to what he's doing, which is not right, and that he's going to cause trouble progressively.
Shabana this very well, and to answer Andrew's question, I think there are 2 problems here. There's a problem of state formation at play in this whole crisis, and there's a problem of nation building. And these are 2 related processes that have happened in history. the state cannot operate in modern times without exercising a legitimate monopoly. Legitimate is very important. The monopoly has to be legitimate. In other words, the people over which you are exercising monopoly over violence must, one or the other, agree or at least, you know, in principle, be fine with it. You cannot just, you know, arbitrarily impose a monopoly. Now, the question for me, who is, you know, trying to...
You don't want to go into the theory of state formation. Sure. Of course, states impose themselves on people, so the people cannot consent.
No, there has to be some element of consent.
No.
You talk about the Republican democracy, I think.
The process can begin with absolute force, but somewhere there has to be a way of legitimation. Okay? But the question here is, how did we get to this situation where the Omusinga was being told to surrender his forces? How did that come about? It should not have happened in the first place. That the king of Rwenzururu can have his own guards. I think that the UPDF and the police should never have allowed that to happen in the first place. They should have provided the security.
But that's what
they have done.
The president asked him, when they discovered, the president in EPAD asked him to disband. This is 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
But Andrew, I also understand that these royal guards were trained by the UPDF in the first place. So why did the UPDF get itself in that fix?
Training militias.
Of training a militia that was now involved in security.
But Teresa, briefly tell us why you, in other words, you...
Don't speak like that. What? Not just to Musinga alone, even to other places. Because of, as a measure of confidence building, if a king or an institutional leader says, I would like to select from my community people, our young people, who I think can come and serve their kingdom well, because they know the interests at stake, okay? Select them.
But they should be under, they should be under the national security apparatus.
Select them, give them to us, and we train them for you, and we put them back. Yeah. That's what happened with the...
But they should be under the command. They should be under the command of the national army.
You see here...
But would you agree, you would agree that you have mismanaged this situation, because now finally you had a man behind your back, go beyond what you recruited for himself a large force of 4,000.
In your watch.
Under your watch.
You have abused the good way of government, and therefore you cannot turn around and blame us, because...
No, but for us Ugandans, we hold you, the state, accountable, because from the very beginning, it is your business to ensure...
Listen. Our forces who fought with the royal guards in the palace were ours, to begin with. They were not there, they were not the royal guards. They were UPDF officers and men, okay? But because there was this ulterior agenda in the palace that eventually and progressively there was going to be a force not only loyal to the Musinga, but also recruited and under his command directly. That's how the clash that took place between the royal guards then and the UPDF officers and men then happened. It happened from that alternative, that ulterior agenda made known.
Okay, gentlemen, we have taken another break. This is Blink with Andrew Mwenda featuring Kano Shaban Bantereza, Deputy Executive Director of the Uganda Media Center. And next to him, of course, on my left-hand side is Robert Centenary. He is the Member of Parliament for Kasese Municipality, but also here on this show of Musinga. And of course, to the extreme left is Moses Kisa, who's a lecturer of political science at Northwestern University in the United States. We are taking another break. We'll be right back.
What is this show called? The Blink?
It's not called the Blink, it's called Blink.
Why is it called?
You don't blink when you're watching this show.
Andrew, was Robert formerly your subject, or is still your subject?
He's still my subject.
Impossible.
Museveni's shenanigans with the Musinga can never be allowed in Toro Kingdom. The Bakonjo are still subjects, loyal subjects of the King of Toro. Now, in the period, in 2014 alone, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 incidents that happened of violence. And this is the question I'm going to bring. You see, on 15th, in February, 15 people died in Bundubuju after February elections. 139 houses were also set ablaze in a period of 4 days. As Bundubuju clash, a similar situation developed in Kasese district following the LC elections in Hima Town Council. On the night of 10th March 2016, the Hima Town Council, a group of 30 people armed with machetes, knives, and clubs injured 4 UPDF officers. 11th March, the attackers critically injured 2 police officers and grabbed a gun from one of them. On the evening of 15th March, the geese of sub-county, and his brother were attacked and stabbed in Kasese town by suspected Obusingabwa Rwenzururu youth, leaving them seriously injured. On the morning of 23rd March, clashes in Ntotoro sub-county, I think in Toroko sub-county in Bundubujo, left 20 people killed, sparking fresh wave of IDPs approximately sought refuge at the Bukwanga camp. On the 23rd, I can go on and on listing these things. I want to know, Bantariza, this situation has been building and building and building. Where has it been? Because finally, I think this bloody showdown was a result of the inability of the state to intervene at appropriate time to avert this situation.
And when they intervene with too much force. Shaban, was this force?
No, I believe the force was appropriate.
Andrew,
when
you should
you say,
withdraw that statement.
for those who say that it was too much force, I want to disabuse you and ourselves of how much amount of force is used in an armed conflict. We are not talking about arresting somebody who was stealing somebody's chicken. We are talking about people shooting at you, throwing petrol bombs at you. How? If you throw a bomb,
I agree with you. The force used was appropriate.
Shaban, if I'm armed with a knife,
And the panga.
do you come and kill me with an RPG?
But can I tell you, Moses, let me tell you, one of the things you guys need to know about security, this was an enclosed place. The government, yes, you cannot assume people have these petrol bombs. People have guns there.
But you should know through intelligence.
Yes. It does not matter, can I tell you, the state has to intervene in such a manner that the first priority is to protect the lives of the officers who are going to enforce law and order. In other words, if the other guy is Belenji, can I tell you, you live in the United States. If the police said stop and you tried to pick your wallet, you would immediately be shot. 40 bullets would end you.
But is that a situation that took place at the palace?
So at the palace, let me explain to you. The president, the government had information. You guys had been stealing guns. Your people from Zuru had been stealing the guns from the army and the police. You have been aligned with ADF, and this is the intelligence that is available. And they more than 4,000 people. What did the government expect? I'm sure they should. If I was commander on the ground, yes, okay. I am sorry, I was explaining to you.
But that was
This is an expert of security.
And I'll give another point of view.
One, the president that you have today, as the president of the state of the Republic of Uganda, is a patient parent that when he wants to solve a problem amicably, he does not even send other people. He deals with you because the Umusinga is not simply a commoner, as he says. It's not simply anyone. All this time which you are saying we lost time, I may agree with what you did, but it was because of the president trying to build confidence, to build trust, and also for nobody should say, it was premature, it was high-handed, why didn't you negotiate? I have shown you that to begin with, if you forget about 2012, 2014, in this situation here, he has been engaging with the singer on phone at every hourly basis. And the requirement was only one. Because you see, these people want to make it as if there was a politically necessary engagement between the president and the Omusinga. Omusinga is a cultural leader. He has no political dynamics to play in the politics of Uganda.
And what is Museveni? Is he a cultural leader?
Okay, but let me come to you. First of all, Robert, Shaban, Shaban.
Omusinga was not. He's a cultural leader. Now, the Omusinga, who was not elected, and the government recognized him, the government has given him facilities to look take care of him.
That's where you get it wrong.
Guys, please allow me to debate. Let me come to you, Robert. You see, Robert, first of all, I want to agree. Hold a second, Shaban, even if I was killed tonight, in my interaction with him and observing him, Museveni is a very, very patient person. Let me tell you, people out there is no country in the world where you can use force or arms to challenge the authority of the state and expect that they will come and hug you and kiss you. The fact that the government of Uganda has tolerated this nonsense in Obusinga for this long is only an expression of the fact that, as Bantariza says, Museveni is a very patient parent. That's how I was acting. In the was undermining the institutional integrity of the state of Uganda. In fact, that is why you parliamentarians should impeach him for exercising unreasonable patience in the face of extreme provocation.
Now, let me try.
He actually abdicated his duty as commander-in-chief.
Under the circumstances, Yes.
If I was a member of parliament, I would move a
Prima
motion of
facie,
impeachment.
Yes.
If you are
Now,
if you reach that level, we are moving forward.
no, Kano
Yes, now we
Gansariza,
can talk.
Moving forward.
you spoke about the Mwea. We also met the president in Mwea before he even met with the king. And the 2 hours we met with President Museveni, he was lecturing us on how he got the Bahima from grass-thatched houses to Mabati and to Matafari. And we told him, Mr. President, this is not what brought us here. We came to discuss the problem of Rwenzori, the problem of Kasese.
What is the
Why-
problem of Rwenzori and the problem of Kasese? Because you
There
have
were
stated here.
these clashes which were taking place, and we wanted.
What was the cause? Don't
We
you-
wanted-
Okay, you are saying clashes. These are clashes by a private militia
We wanted-
and the security forces of the state.
We wanted to discuss what the president
And then
told
you
us.
guys want to discuss.
He told us
I-
that
honestly,
he
you are
does not
showing me that-
understand the situation in Kasese. He is going to send a team from his office.
He didn't know what was going on.
Yes, he said he doesn't know.
No,
He was going.
If I say I don't understand, it is not the
I
same
mean,
as
he
I
was
don't
going to
know.
send a team from his office to
Get
go
it
and
right.
have a detailed investigation into this matter. And when they get the report, then they will come and discuss with us. He was going to have a meeting with us later. So we waited for this meeting to happen. It never happened. We even went an extra mile and asked General Katumba Wamala to fix an appointment with us so that we get to the bottom of this matter. We were supposed to have met with the president on the 6th of October.
But whom are you
What was the
representing? Let me ask
we
you.
are leaders of
Yes,
our
but whom are you
country.
representing?
Elected.
You are representing the
Elected.
militias?
Who are seeing a problem which is being massaged,
What is the problem
and
with
the
statements?
magnitude of the problem is not being
Okay, let me bring in
downplayed.
Moses. Just a moment, guys. Let me bring in Moses.
let me
Robert,
finish.
for 1 second, you're going to
From
finish.
statement
I want to
and
ask
problem
you.
definition.
Robert keeps saying that they were negotiating. I want to know. Because there is a private militia that has been attacking government offices. And the government of Uganda wants to negotiate with MPs. Do they?
Killing people as well.
It's
Do
not
these
about
MPs
the militias.
Robert,
It was about understanding the
Understanding
underlying
what?
causes of the problem.
Of
All
the militias,
through,
of
actually,
the king's guards attacking and killing UPDF soldiers.
all through this process, government was quick to point fingers at the kingdom, and you could even see that the time these people were pointing fingers at the kingdom was not sufficient for them to have come up with a conclusive report. This report, I'm getting it here on television. I remember Brigadier Tumukunde came to around May, June, and he gave the state of the security of Uganda report.
And there was
And
nothing.
I stood up and said, Brigadier, I have listened to your report. You've been saying that there is an insecurity situation in Kasese and in the Rwenzori region. Why is it that you have not kept in your report? He promised and said, oh, it was an oversight. I'm going to go back and come up with a more comprehensive report. Now, we find these reports on televisions that the king did this, did this. If government had agreed to bring the real situation to the limelight, then we would have found a solution.
Let me come to you,
lasting
Moses, because you cannot tell you
to this problem.
this problem has
Now-
been happening. It has been covered in the press consistently. Robert, let's allow Robert also.
But Andrew,
There has been these attacks. I have a whole list of them here. They have been taking place. The newspapers have been covering them.
Yes.
What surprises me, chief of state, the commander-in-chief, has taken so long to
But you should
I can't
also
because
be
it is,
aware.
it's very uncharacteristic of because Museveni, I think that on matters of security he's very quick and decisive.
Exactly.
Why did he prevaricate? Why
You
did
should
he
also be aware that the person who commanded those attacks in Bundubujo, Kapilongo, was actually never executed. He was given state protection, given money, and right now he's a member of the presidential peace team.
What is your-
Even after he had confessed that
what
I
is
am
your
the one
Kasese?
who attacked, commanded Kanyamwirima. And
So you have suppressed, guys, have you suppressed Moses? Can we also allow a political scientist to say something?
Kasese problem definition. You. What is your Kasese
Okay,
problem
Shabbat, let us first have Moses, please put in your word.
Carlo, you're supposed to be a disciplined
I
soldier.
am absolutely.
Okay, but Robert,
Yes.
don't you realize that actually Charles Wesley Mumbere has been rather intransigent in this whole affair? In 2014, he put on military fatigue and addressed a press conference and said, I understand that the government wants to arrest me, and since I'm a soldier by profession, I have decided to dress appropriately such that I can be arrested. going to dare the state, and you know Museveni, I know, does not want to be there, especially militarily, okay? But
why did he wait for 2 years after the man put on
this is where
uniform illegally?
Bantatisa has a very tough job explaining this away.
No, I have to,
If this situation had been building up all this long a time, Kano, what was your government waiting for? And secondly,
there was
why do you wait?
There was continuous engagement between the government by its leader and the Omusinga.
And as political leaders were engaging with the government in discussions, even to the point of saying, okay, we now have the royal guards available with the palace. Why do you invade with so much force? You see, force, Andrew, force is important, and the state should use force. But brute force can lead
Let
to,
me explain
can
that.
lead to dangerous outcomes.
Let me explain
the US,
that.
And we also know that.
You know that the US, listen, the world's most militarily powerful state, the United States, has tried to use a lot of force with disastrous consequences.
Yes.
They were provoked in 2001. They went and invaded Afghanistan.
Yeah,
invaded
what
Iraq.
happened when they leave other foreign countries? Leave foreign countries. What happened when they used maximum force to the FBI to get that kid Gonzalez from a house where there are no armed, or at Waco? Yeah. Who declared himself Jesus Christ? States always use the force.
But you see, they have to use it.
Reasonably.
Can I tell you one day? One day I was on a plane. Earlier this year, I was on a plane, and I saw a woman quarreled with an air hostess. The plane was pulled out of the skies, and we were landed again. The way I saw FBI enter, it's as if they were. Oh, you would have thought there was Third World War on that plane. Please, if you talk of using extreme force, the United States beats all countries of the world.
Exactly, but you see, it has been paying the price of doing that. You know, the US, it's militarism, and you know, Shaban, I have a problem with your government. Many times,
you see, I've not been a soldier. Those of us who have been generals in the army, we should tell you this.
Many times you think that every problem should be solved
by the gun.
But Moses, you are defeating your own cause. You have yourself said that for a very long time, for 2 years, government has tried to resolve this matter peacefully. The king of the Musinga has been extremely intransigent. He has not been accommodating.
To who? Intransigent to who?
Because the president met him on April 11th.
There are two problematic people here. The president and the Musinga will say to be yes, they are both intransigent, if I may use your word.
Can I tell you, Robert, the president of Uganda abdicated his duty.
Museveni on one side and the Musinga on the other side. And you expect the president to come and be the one to order, to give commands. Do this, do this, do this. Why didn't they look for a leadership? That is why we are supposed to say, look here, President Museveni, and Your Majesty, I think here.
So all of a sudden, Musinga has become another head of state.
This is the right path. That is how you're portraying it.
That
is why you're portraying it.
So you are saying that the Muyira is at the same level, the Musinga is at the same level as the president?
Saying the president has been talking to the Musinga, the Musinga has been adamant. Now, in an event that the Musinga has been adamant, and the president is also adamant on the other side, they have both defied. But where do we go now as Ugandans?
Do you realize that
this
is kind of a replay of 2009 here in Uganda?
Yes.
You know, Museveni,
can I tell you, in Uganda here...
Listen. Museveni complained that had not been answering his calls for some time. It looks like the Musinga has also been doing the same thing to Museveni.
No, but I can tell you this. The president invited Musinga that Saturday. The man refused to come to Kampala to meet the president.
Exactly.
The second thing I should tell you that of what has happened is that, you see, Mutebi is a highly sophisticated person. If Mutebi was what is the man's name? Mumbere. There would have been a bloodbath in this town. But people think that Mutebi is a coward. They don't understand he's a very sophisticated person with a pedigree. Perhaps because he's born of royal blood. This idea of hoisting commoners all of a sudden, kings are born. They're not hoisted.
I wanted to...
Okay, you will disagree with me.
The honorable has said that if the Musinga became intransigent...
And the president also became intransigent.
The president is not being intransigent because for him he's the commander-in-chief, okay? Responsible for the security of all, including the Musinga and yourself.
Exactly.
But he wanted you to say, okay, can we have an alternative solving this one?
Which we did.
And we have been asking, good for you. You want to go and engage the president. That's why you said when you went there, he was telling you about how he developed Bahima into a developed people. It's because you did not go to him with a problem statement which was defined. Because you are telling us about consequences without telling
Okay,
us
guys,
the causes.
we need to begin concluding the
What
show.
caused the recruitment
So I
of
want
the-
to know.
of the Royal Guard, 4,000.
Okay.
What
Now,
is the cause?
in a
Let
similar
us-
manner that you discussed that security report with the Msinga, I think in a highly confidential meeting that we had with the president, he should have told us as leaders that, look here, you Kasese, this is the problem. How do we solve it? And then we start discussing in that direction.
The immediate should have
Other than him
started on.
telling him how his clansmen got from
The immediate one
mud and
you should
water
have
to...
started on should have been okay from the Kasese meeting that in the park.
Yeah.
Should have been, now let us disarm the Royal Guards, restore, depending on the states, the official guards of government to guard the Msinga, who, by the way, were the very ones who rescued him on Sunday from being a captive to those Royal Guards who are now going to use him as
A human shield.
a human shield.
We have run out of
like
time.
you to refer to the
Robert,
answer.
Robert, allow me
One
to
of
moderate
our
the show.
members asked to Mukunde, the king's security was withdrawn by government. When is it going to be reinstated? Go to the answer. You'll find
Okay,
it on
okay,
record.
gentlemen, we have run out of time. To conclude the show, this is what I could say that I have observed. One, failed to exercise his duty as commander-in-chief by just being too parental and too patient. When people organize forces, alternative forces to state security institutions, you cannot take that lightly. You must act quickly and decisively.
And swiftly.
Yes. So we should pray that next time, if you guys don't impeach Museveni for negligence of duty, he should his ante.
We
The second
actually
thing is
recommended that he resigns.
the second thing is the problem of Singa. That institution, I think, is a very dangerous institution. If you guys don't moderate it, it will cause problems. This has been Blink with the old man of the clan, Andrew Mwenda,
What a nasty end. Andrew, no. I think that was
featuring
judgmental.
Robert Centenary, Kano Shaban Vantariza, and Moses Kisa. Thank you so much for joining us. You will see us again next month in the new year of 2017 with another heated discussion. Good evening. Don't blink.